are on the N of the LendNow framework. Okay, so the N in Lend is for networking. Now, this is a pretty important part of your lending business because, of course, where are you going to get clients? Like, that's one of the biggest questions that I get all the time. And there's no easy answer. Now, I will say that if you are very outgoing and extroverted, this may be a bit easier for you than it is for people like me who are more introverted. And so I'll tell you some of the strategies that I've used for networking and to get the word out. And we can talk about maybe some of the ones that you might want to use. So for me, when I first started my lending business, I made a list of all the people in the industries that I was willing to lend for. So anyone that I knew who was doing fix and flips, anyone who I knew that was a general contractor or even a subcontractor. And it wasn't a ton of people, to be honest. It was maybe like 8 or 9 people. And so I made that list. I drafted a text message and I sent out a mass text message to that list, and I announced that I had a lending company, and I told them the total amount in my lending fund to start. I told them my max loan term, and I told them that I'm gonna do some flat fee lending. So basically, instead of charging an interest rate and having them pay per month, I was just charging a flat fee that's all due at the end. So I sent out that text message, and everyone, congratulated me and all these things. No one had anything immediately, but it was months later that I got those initial requests, and it was from the people in that message thread. And so that was my very first way of putting myself out there as a private lender, as someone who, I'm not really trying to go to networking events. I'm not about to blast it out on social media or anything like that. So I had to do what felt right for me. And then, as I've grown as a lender, one thing happens is that your borrowers, when they're satisfied, they tell other people. So that makes your job easier. But also, as you continue to go out, meet new people, and, people ask about what you're doing, it's always a great time to casually just mention that you're also a private lender. And I cannot think of one time where my casual mention of being a private lender did not spark some very interesting conversation. I mean, people who are in business and investing are constantly looking for funds. They're constantly looking to use other people's money. And so people are excited to meet a private lender, especially someone they know, someone they can see face to face who's not, behind the curtain of an entity that they've never heard of. So it's exciting. So that's one thing that I do. Sometimes if it's relevant in a conversation or at a networking event, I will mention that I'm a private lender. Sometimes those mentions have led to amazing opportunities for me to present to other people. So I've done webinars. Those are a little nerve-wracking, but you'll get over it. And as I've become more comfortable, I've started talking about lending on social media and things like that. But in the beginning, it wasn't like that. Some people, that are, not that I do this, but some people have an online form that they share. They have one of those digital business cards, and it has their borrower application or request for funding, and that's their way of getting new potential borrowers. I've also seen people just have advertisements. That's not something that I've done, but people just advertise their lending. I think for me, I just don't feel comfortable necessarily putting it out there to strangers all the time that I'm a lender, because I don't really lend to strangers. I tend to try to get to know the person that I'm going to be lending to before I lend them money. But yeah, there's a lot of different ways to get out there. There's private lending associations, there's Facebook groups, even in just some real estate investment groups. Just labeling yourself as a private lender will definitely make people reach out to you. So there's tons of ways. Make sure that you're, taking opportunities to go to conferences, joining networking groups, and just getting comfortable telling people and talking about the fact that you are a private lender.